121.5. We are ready to go at last. Away we go. And it is Stephen Proctor on the Yamaha. Milcrease Junior Manx Grand Prix underway. Number 2, Stephen Parsons away. People's Bike Kawasaki. Number 3 is Andrew Farrell. On a Kawasaki again. It's the new engine in the Yamaha for James Hind away. Quickest in qualifying. Through the box as he heads towards St Ninian's Crossroads. There's a gap at 5, so now it's going to be the number 6 Honda of Nathan Harrison away. A little bit of a wheelie as he gets away. Couple more hops as he went down Glen Crutchy Road. 7, the Suzuki of Stephen Smith. Team 85 Kawasaki next at number 8, Dave Butler. Here's the Honda of number 9, Francesco Caringa. Having to get right over the tank to try and keep that front wheel earth, but we've a gap at 10. Next away is Brad Vickers, number 11. Brad Vickers on the Honda, and he gets the flag dropped for him to go. And Darrell Tweed away next, also on a Honda. Just lovely hearing them disappearing out of our view to the left down Bray Hill. We've got a gap of 20 seconds here with no number 13 or 14 start position. So Chris Cook it is, who's got that famous hand on the shoulder, ready for the tap, ready to see the flag drop. Revs go up, he's on a Kawasaki, away he goes. Now number 16, Andrew Fisher on the Yamaha. One of the 4 riders to go over 120 in practice. David McConaughey now on the Yamaha. He's number 17. 18 is Damien Horan on a Suzuki. '19 is Michael Rees on a Kawasaki, right down the centre line of the road. Another quick man in practice was Arnie Shelton. He's moved up to 20. A little bit of a gap. I don't think there's a number 21 there, Ryan Maha. So this will be number 81, the winner of the Newcomers A, Pierre-Yves Bian, and away he goes. Ooh, out to the scoreboards, back to the centre. Doing a Michael Dunlop there. Gaz Evans now on the Honda, number 26. 33 is next, that's Grant Gaskell on a Kawasaki, away he goes. .32 is Teddy Bresson, a Kawasaki. Next 23, Adrian Hartog, again on the green machine Kawasaki. White fairing though on this one, but team green Kawasaki. 29 is Stephen Horn. Legs dragged out and now on the pegs and away he goes. 39 is Richard Stubbs on a Yamaha. Next away will be number 28, Sean Evans. And as he sets off down towards Bray Hill, let's go out to Glen Helen and Dave Christian.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. We're just awaiting the arrival of the first man on the road, and here he is. And it's a very steady approach there for Stephen Proctor. He's being visibly caught, though. Being visibly caught. Stephen Parsons comes through. And, yeah, that's 5 seconds, 5.5 seconds that Parsons taken out of Proctor there from the start line. 3 comes through. Andrew Farrell, he's the quickest man so far, but he's being caught. That's James Hind. Hind catches Farrell on adjusted time and goes into the lead. That's number 4, James Hind, the quickest man through so far. And he's going to probably he'll get a sight of Farrell, I would think, down Crunkavody. And Stephen Parsons, Stephen Proctor, though, looked visibly a little bit slower on the road. I'm not sure if that's an indicator of a problem or not. That is 6, Nathan Harrison through, but he's not as quick as Hind. Hind leads Harrison by 2.5 seconds in the opening sector of this race. Next man in, flick to the right, onto the brakes, into the left-hander. That is 7, Stephen Smith. Holds 4th place at the moment here on this opening lap. It is, of course, very early stages in the race. 2.5 or 2 2/3 laps to go. Next man in. That is 8, David Butler. Butler 6th quickest so far. He's being caught on the road. That's 9 comes through now. Francesco Coringa ahead of Butler on corrected time, but it's still Hind and Harrison at the top end of this race. Hind leads Harrison. Number 4 leads number 6 by 2.5 seconds after 9 miles of this 3-lap race. Next man in, drifts a little bit wide there, has to pull that back out, but manages to get round absolutely perfectly fine. Brad Vickers just drifted a little bit in too close, and the little flick to the right that he has to do before lining up for this long sweeping left-hander, he just drifted out a little bit. Nowhere near the hedge. He was perfectly fine in that way, but it did set his line for the left-hander here. And that may have cost him a second or two. But Brad Vickers safely through here is 6th fastest so far. It is Hind and Harrison, though, as we predicted from the qualifying times, at the top end of the field. Number 4 leading number 6 by 2.5 seconds. Andrew Farrell currently 3rd. He is 3 seconds back on Harrison. Next man comes out of Glen Helen too. Flicks to the right there. Tips into the left hand. A little twitch of a knee there. That is 15, Chris Cook. And he's being caught on the road by 16, Andrew Fisher. So Fisher, 8th fastest. He's going to get a look at Chris Cook on Crunkavody as well, I would think. He's going to have him in sight before the end of that straight. 17 comes in now, David McConaughey. Doesn't threaten the top 10. David McConaughey, 11th fastest so far, but they are all quite bunched close together, as you'd expect after only 9 miles of racing. Hind, Harrison, Farrell, 4th quickest so far, number 7, Stephen Smith. I'll give you the time difference in a minute. We just take 18 through. 18 through Damien Horan. Yes, Damien Horan safely through, as is Michael Rees. There is number 20, Arnie Shelton, and a big move from Arnie Shelton. Number 20, Arnie Shelton, into the top 10, 8th fastest so far. It's a massive move from Arnie Shelton. He's pulled quite a bit of time out of those guys ahead of him. And it's number 20, Arnie Shelton, up to 8th place. Parsons and Proctor now at Ballaugh Bridge. So the leaders on the road through Ballaugh. As we take Pierre-Yves Bian through, 13th fastest. A big move from Bian as well. He's picked up a couple of places since he left the start line. James Hind now and Andrew Farrell both through at Ballaugh, and Hind still with the lead, pending the arrival of number 6, Nathan Harrison. 26 comes through, Gaz Evans. Doesn't threaten the top 10, does Gaz Evans. And he's followed by 33, Grant Gaskell, who also doesn't threaten the top 10. Gaskell 16th fastest to Glen Helen on the opening lap. Harrison's through and Hind's pulled out even more. James Hind leads at Ballaugh Bridge. Nathan Harrison by 7 seconds now as 32 comes through here, Teddy Bresson. And he's followed on the road by 23. That is Adrian Hartog. So at Ballaugh Bridge now, Hind leads Harrison by 7 seconds with Parsons 3rd. He is 4 seconds back on Harrison. And who was that just through? 29, Stephen Horn, just through here at Glen Helen on his opening lap. So it is James Hind with the hammer down right from the start. He led Nathan Harrison by 2.5 seconds here at Glen Helen. That's up to 7 by Ballaugh. 39 comes through, Richard Stubbs. He is closely followed on the road by 28, Sean Evans, and Sean Evans looks to be catching him, and I'm sure he'll get a look at him down Cronkivody Straight as well. But Hind led at Glen Helen. He leads at Balaf, and that lead extended out to 7 seconds. It's looking ominous from James Hind here this afternoon. That's 48 just come through here. 48 is James Reveley, just outside the top 20 there for James Reveley. But at Balaf, it's Hind from leads Harrison by 7. Parsons is third, 4 seconds back on Harrison. In fourth place, number 3, Andrew Farrell. He's just 7/10 of a second down from Parsons. In fifth at Balaf, it's number 7, Stephen Smith, who is 1/10 of a second down on Farrell. In sixth place, number 11, Brad Vickers. He is 2 seconds down on Smith. And seventh place, number 9, Francesco Coringa, 5 seconds down on Brad Vickers. Back to you at the grandstand.
Bad news for number 12, Darrell Tweed. He's retired at Greba, perfectly okay. Out at Sulby, James Hind, 166.5 miles per hour. Stephen Proctor, number 1, 165.3 and 162.9 for Nathan Harrison. We are on about 121.5 mile per hour pace from a standing start, which if that continues will be an official new Junior Manx Grand Prix lap record. Currently in the hands of Michael Evans at 120.6. Chris Boyd, this is an exceptionally fast start.
Stunning lap this from James Hind. He's 3.5 seconds quicker than the unofficial lap record he set just yesterday on the way out to Balaf. So just to Balaf, he's there in 8 minutes dead. They're in 8 minutes and 4.2 yesterday. Absolutely flying.
So at Balaf Bridge, as starters still leaving here at the grandstand, it's number 4, James Hind, exactly 7 seconds ahead of number 6, Nathan Harrison, who's 3.6 ahead of number 2, Stephen Parsons. Andrew Farrell is 4th, Stephen Smith in 5th, and 6th, number 11, Brad Vickers. But an exceptionally fast start by James Hind, 121.5. Let's go straight to Ramsey Hairpin and Roy Moore.
Well, it was the Battle of the H's in TT Week, and it's the Battle of the H's in Manx Grand Prix Week, because number 4, James Hind, is here, but he just goes up just a little bit wide. Number 1 and 2 together, Stephen Proctor and James Hind. Worse as James Hind through now, but it was Stephen Proctor and Andy Farrell that were together as they came in, and there's number 3 going through. But we've got to wait for Nathan Harrison to see what the difference was. It was 7 seconds there, but safely through Ramsey. Number 4, James Hind, and then Nathan has broken the beam down there. He's a further 2.5 seconds adrift of James Hind here at Ramsey on official timing, and he is into Ramsey Hairpin now, using that left-hand back braking system. Very, very neat indeed, and through, and the bright light on the back of that machine goes off up towards the waterworks, but it's 9.5 seconds, 9.5 seconds that number 4, James Hind, leads Nathan Harrison here at Ramsey Hairpin. He in turn has a 5.5 second lead off in third place number 2, Stephen Parsons, who in turn is only half a second ahead of number 7, Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith is only half a second ahead of Andy Farrell. And then in 6th place, number 1, Stephen Proctor, 8.5 seconds down on Andrew Farrell. David Butler, I think, will be the next to be here. Yes, it is. It's David Butler. That red fairing, not much advertising on the side of that, but certainly got it round, and half a second down on Francesco Coringa, who is through, number 9. He's 2.5 seconds down on Stephen Proctor. For that 7th place, he's holding on to 8th, but he's only half a second ahead of Dave Butler. Now let's see who that goes into. Yeah, it is Brad Vickers. Brad Vickers comes into the equation, 6th at Balaf Bridge, and certainly holding on to 6th here at Ramsey Hairpin, but only 1.5 seconds down on in 5th place, number 3, Andy Farrell. So that's a battle to watch out for. 1.5 seconds of difference there, but he is 7 seconds ahead off in 7th place, number 1, Stephen Proctor, as the road goes quiet. For what on earth reason, I don't know, but certainly all the top riders through here at Ramsey Hairpin, and it is number 4, James Hind, 9.5 seconds ahead of number 6, Nathan Harrison, who in turn is 5.5 seconds ahead off in 3rd place, Stephen Parsons. More machines come towards us now, down through the box, out to the right-hand side, distinctive green fairing behind number 16 there, Chris Cook. and certainly Andrew Fisher was number 16, and Chris Cook through, the last to go through, number 15 on that distinctive green fared bike. They slot in. Let's just see on that one. Andrew Fisher moves up to 7th place. In fact, number 16, he's in 7th place here at Ramsey, 5 seconds down on Brad Vickers, but only 1.5 seconds ahead of Andrew Fisher, with Chris Cook completing the top 12. That was David McConaughey that you heard going through in the background, number 17. So where does he slot in? We've got to look out for number 22, who 20 as well should have been the correct term for that, Arnie Shelton, and he should be one of these two riders here. He is the first of them, number 20, the black fairing there, number 18 behind him. That is Damien Horan, and then number 19 is through as well. That's Michael Rees is safely through Ramsey Hairpin. We'll just run down the names from 9th to 15th now, with that move up by number 16, Andrew Fisher, into 7th. It's in 8th, number 1, Stephen Proctor. 9th, number 9, Francesco Caringa. 10th, number 8, Dave Butler. 11th, number 20, Arnie Shelton. 12th, number 17, David McConaughey. 13th, number 15, Chris Cook. And in 18th place, Pierre-Yves Beyond, the newcomer, number 81, who is holding on to that 14th place, but only 2 seconds down as they make the bungalow climb. I can tell you James Hind is safely through the bungalow, as is Nathan Harrison, but there's only been 1 second difference made on that mountain climb. It's still number 4, James Hind, who leads by 10 seconds now over number 6, Nathan Harrison, who in turn is 7.5 seconds ahead of through the bungalow, number 7, Stephen Smith. 4th through the bungalow, number 3, Andy Farrell, only a fraction of a second down on Stephen Smith, with 5th, number 2, Stephen Parsons, 2.5 seconds down on Andy Farrell. In 6th place, number 1, Stephen Proctor, 9 seconds down on Stephen Parsons. Successfully through Ramsey Hairpin have been Terry Breeson, Gaz Evans, Grant Gaskell, Damien Horan and Adrian Hartock. Michael Rees is there as well, and certainly through, and that number 81, the newcomer, 29, Stephen Horn, is safely through Ramsey Hairpin. What position does he hold? 17th place at Ramsey Hairpin, and the margins between all the riders you could put down as being about 1.5 seconds in all positions. Through the bungalow now has gone Brad Vickers, holding on to that 6th place, number 11, 4 seconds down though on Stephen Parsons, but 5.5 seconds ahead of in 7th place, number 1, Stephen Proctor, who in turn is just 1 second ahead off in 8th place, number 9, Francesco Caringa, who in turn is 4.5 seconds ahead. Next is Dave Butler, who's just 4.5 seconds down on Caringa, but it's the battle of the H's at the front, and it's Hind from Harrison by 10 seconds at Bungalow. Back to the grandstand.
Thank you very much, Roy. And James Hind on 121.5 pace. Just dropped slightly, but I reckon that was traffic because he's leading on the road. He's got ahead of Proctor and Parsons. Likely to be traffic, Chris Boyd, I would suspect.
We think that the sector time just went off a little bit as he reaches Cronknamona. He's there already. Let's bang that time in and just see what the projection. It goes back up to 121.8 his lap projection now.
He's going to shatter it on a standing start lap as well. I can tell you the Sulby Speed Trap, Arnie Shelton was quickest there at 168.2 miles per hour at the Sulby Speed Trap. But it is young James Hind who is leading this race as we will see them across the line here. They've just got that small section to come, and lights also on now for Nathan Harrison, and the gap at Cronknamona is up to nearly 12, 11.92 seconds. Andrew Farrell currently in third. We've got to wait for Stephen Smith to break the beam at Cronknamona. But let's concentrate first of all on this young 19-year-old James Hind as he's going to come into view here at the grandstand. And what are we going to see recorded here? Is it going to be a Junior Manx Grand Prix record? Crosses the line now, and we look at the time, 121.773 miles per hour. It is a Manx Grand Prix junior record for James Hind. 18 minutes 35.424 seconds. He is now 20.495 seconds ahead of number 3 Andrew Farrell, but we've got to see Nathan Harrison through, and that should be Harrison through now. And Nathan Harrison goes into second position, and 120.556 miles per hour for Harrison. Let's see if Smith is in third. Stephen Smith, the Merseysider, crosses the line now, and he's into third. But what a lap by number 4, James Hind, on the Yamaha. They've had to put a new engine in after he broke down out at Griever on the second lap after an unofficial Junior Manx Grand Prix record on the opening qualifying lap last night. So they've had to do an awful lot of work, and he's absolutely obliterated the Junior Manx Grand Prix lap record from a standing start. It was 120.619 miles per hour, held by Michael Evans from 2017. As number 8 crosses the line, and 9. So that's Dave Butler, number 8, and Francesco Coringa, number 9. 121.773 miles per hour is the new mark from the extraordinary young talent of James Hind. Across the line there is Brad Vickers, number 11, on the Honda. He slots into 6th position. So it is Hind who leads Harrison by 11.259 seconds. Then there's 8.5 seconds back to third, number 7, Stephen Smith. There's nothing between him and Andrew Farrell apart from 0.6 of a second between third and fourth. In fifth is number 2, Stephen Parsons, 4.2 down on Farrell. And in sixth, 6.2 down, is number 11, Brad Vickers. Then it's Proctor, Coringa and Butler. And it should be number 16 that we should see come past us next. Andrew Fisher on the Yamaha. Crosses the line now. And Andrew Fisher goes into 6th place. So he's gone ahead of Brad Vickers. Just going to look back to Cronknamona, and Fisher was showing in 6th actually at Cronknamona. 0.2 it was at Cronknamona. Between Fisher and Vickers, it's 0.177 of a second as Chris Cook, number 15, goes through here at the grandstand. And number 17, David McConaughey, through. He's in 11th. Cook in 12th. 12th of the 12 bikes who've seen past us here on Glen Crutchley Road. But it's Hind, 11.2 seconds ahead on the Yamaha, ahead of the Honda-powered Nathan Harrison, number 6. He, in turn, 8.5 seconds ahead of number 7, Stephen Smith, who's only 0.6 ahead of number 3, Andrew Farrell. 20 across the line, and we should see another couple of bikes emerge very quickly too. That's 18, and there's 19 across the line, and another retirement to bring in number 47 at Belig Bridge is Nigel Ray, a retirement. Where is Pierre-Yves Bian, the newcomer's A record, going to fit in? Number 81, we reckon around 14th or so. Here he is. And 81, there he is. He's actually up to 13th position. The newcomer A winner, Pierre-Yves Bian. That's a tremendous ride from him on, his debut around the mountain course. Certainly taking to it like a duck to water. The additional non-starters was 60, Jason Heritage, 44, Renzo van der Donkt, and 54, Ray Maloney. They were the additional non-starters. But it is, as Roy says, the H-bomb again effect here on racing around the mountain course. Substitute Hickman and Harrison for another Harrison, Nathan this time, and Hind. Let's go to Dave Christian at Glen Helen.
Yes, indeed, Tim. Fantastic lap speed from James Hind on that opening passage. There's machine noise coming up the valley. 2 bikes out of Glen Helen, 2 together on the road. That's 1 and 2. That's 1 and 2, Parsons and Proctor. And 3, Andrew Farrell. So no James Hind. So James Hind not made it here. So that's going to be a change at the top of the leaderboard. It's Andrew Farrell now with the fastest time so far. We await the arrival of number 6, Nathan Harrison. Next machine tips into the left-hander. That is number 6, Nathan Harrison. So Harrison has the lead now. Harrison leads Andrew Farrell by 12 seconds. In third place, number 2, Stephen Parsons. Parsons 5 seconds back on Farrell. We do need number 7, though, Stephen Smith. He may just slot into our leaderboard. There is Smith now. So Smith goes into second. Smith now takes second. So Harrison leads Smith by 8 seconds. Number 6 leads number 7 by 8 seconds. In third place, number 3, Andrew Farrell. He's 4 seconds back on Smith. In fourth place, number 2, Stephen Parsons. He is 5 seconds back on Farrell. And I'm just hearing James Hind has retired at Griever Bridge. James Hind retired at Griever Bridge. Desperate news for him. Rider perfectly okay, but James Hind out of the race on lap 2 at Griever Bridge. Nathan Harrison now is the new race leader. Number 6 leads number 7. Next 2 men into Glen Helen. It's 9 and 8 together on the road. Francesco Coringa 9. He was the first man here on the road. And in 7th place, or 7th quickest, number 8, David Butler. Next man into the left-hander here, that's Brad Vickers. Gets on the juice, makes that climb up towards Sarah's Cottage, and Vickers into 5th place. So Brad Vickers moving up the order a little bit. He is gone. No, I think we do need Andrew Fisher, though, don't we? Andrew Fisher, number 16, may just interfere there with Brad Vickers' claim to 5th place. Andrew Fisher was in 6th place at the grandstand. He'll move up 1 because James Hind has retired, and that will give Brad Vickers potentially a shot at 5th place. Man to watch that we spotted on lap 1, number 70, Alan Johnson. He was 9th in the newcomers last year. He started 56th off the start line. He was up to 22nd place. That's number 70, Alan Johnson. A fantastic start for him and made up a whole hatful of places. Next man in is number 16, Andrew Fisher. He does drop onto the leaderboard, but no, Brad Vickers has taken that 5th place. Andrew Fisher just down now on Brad Vickers just by half a second. So the tail of the tape is number 6, and Nathan Harrison leads number 7, Stephen Smith, by 8 seconds at Glen Helen on lap 2, with number 3, Andrew Farrell, 3rd. We'll take this man through. That's 15, Chris Cook. He gets onto the pipe and makes his climb up towards Sarah's Cottage. As another rider swings into view, gets it anchored up into the left-hander, David McConaughey. Onto the throttle, and he makes his climb up towards Cronkovody there. We've got Andrew Farrell, number 3, 3rd place. He's 4 seconds back on 2nd place, Stephen Smith. In 4th place, number 2, Stephen Parsons. He is 5 seconds down on 3rd place, Farrell. In 5th place, number 11, Brad Vickers. He is 6 seconds down on Stephen Parsons. Next man into Glen Helen, it's number 20, Arnie Shelton. Shelton currently occupying 9th place. We'll get to his time difference in a moment. Number 16 is Andrew Fisher. He is 6th place, and he is just half a second down on Brad Vickers. In 7th place, number 1, Stephen Proctor. 2 together, and 18 is pulling in here. Just gets that anchored up in time. At number 18 pulls in Damien Horan. His race not gone so well. 81 there has a little twitch mid-corner, Pierre-Yves Bien. So Pierre-Yves Bien has a little twitch mid-corner, and looks like we may have something on the road there. There's a little trail where Damien Horan's came in, and that's given Pierre-Yves Bien a little bit of a twitch here as he got mid-corner, but Pierre-Yves Bien is safely through here, and Damien Horan is in and retired. So that's him parked up the bike for the afternoon. Inside that top 10 then, number 16, Andrew Fisher is in 6th place. In 7th, number 1, Stephen Proctor, 3 seconds down on Fisher. In 8th place, number 9, Francesco Coringa. He is 4 seconds down on Stephen Proctor. In 9th place, number 20, Arnie Shelton. He is 10 seconds back on Coringa. And in 10th place, number 8, Dave Butler. He is just 1,000th of a second down on Arnie Shelton. So there's a real close gap between those two. If we could have a quick look over to Balaf Bridge, gentlemen, and we'll catch the leaders through there, see what that gap is. Nathan Harrison will be pretty close. Oh, yes, Harrison now is through at Balaf Bridge, but Stephen Smith is catching him. The gap was 8.3 seconds here. It's down to 7.4 at Balaf Bridge. Andrew Farrell holding 3rd, and the leaders pulling away from him. That gap has extended from 3 seconds out to 8, nearly 9 seconds now. Stephen Parsons at Balaf, number 2, is in 4th place. He's 2 seconds back on 3rd place Farrell. And in 5th place at Balaf, number 11, Brad Vickers. He is 7 seconds down on Parsons. So drama here on lap 2 with leader and pace setter James Hind retiring at Griever Bridge on lap 1 and giving the lead of the race to number 6, Nathan Harrison, who has a 7-second advantage at Balaf Bridge. And with that, we'll go back to the grandstand.
Yeah, it is confirmation. James Hind retired at Griever Bridge. What a shame for him. But I can tell you that Smith is the fastest to Glen Helen and has clearly made time up as well. Getting to Balaf Bridge as well, Chris Boyd. He seems to be the one to watch.
He does indeed. He's closing and closing. He took, just a couple of tenths of a second out of Harrison on the run out to Glen Helen. He's taken almost a full second out of him on the run up to Balaf. Smith really flying on this lap.
And we're still over the 121 pace, but of course they've got to scrub off speed to come into the pits at the end of this second lap.
We are indeed. Nathan Harrison's Balaf to Balaf is 121.197. Tremendous pace in this Millcrease Junior Manx Grand Prix.
It is, and a shame as well out there for Damien Horan, just parking it up, and a bit of a moment, as we heard there, for Pierre Yi Bian out at Glen Helen. Arnie Shelton is in 9th position at Glen Helen, which represents a really good ride. Ben Ray is 15th, 33 Grant Gaskell in 16th, and let's go to Ramsey Hairpin. Roy Moore.
2 and 1. I should be here at Ramsey Hairpin, and certainly it's developing into a battle. Sweeping out of Stella Maris they come. Who's first ahead on the road? It's number 2, Stephen Parsons. Number 1, Stephen Proctor behind him. And Andy Farrell will be the next interview, and this is him here now, taking it down through the box. There was a battle on between Andy Farrell and Stephen Parsons at Balaf Bridge, and I can tell you it's only a fraction of a second here, but here's Nathan Harrison now at Ramsey Hairpin. Certainly tight into the inside and away. I wonder how much fuel they'll put in that. This is not the first time that Nathan Harrison has led a race round the 37 3/4 mountain course. Remember last year he was leading the newcomers when the thing blew itself to bits. But here's Stephen Smith now, and there's a further second being pulled out on the run from Balaf Bridge here to Ramsey Hairpin. Number 7, Stephen Smith, 6.5 seconds down on the leader. Number 6, Nathan Harrison. Stephen Parsons up into 3rd, 13 seconds down on Stephen Smith, but that Andy Farrell only 0.3 of a second, 0.03 of a second down behind. In 4th position, number 3, Andy Farrell, who has a 10-second advantage over. Then in 5th position, number 1, Stephen Proctor. Those are the bikes through. It was interesting to note that it was something like 12 minutes and 50-odd seconds that the starting difference was from the first man away to the last man away. But looking at the road, I think over 3 laps, I think it's going to be a clear run, and it's going to be a clear run. Not once they've got through their pit stop, there'll be lots of instructions handed out about not breaking the speed barrier going out as 2 more machines. Francesco Coringa, number 9, and 8, Dave Butler. And I think that is number 11, Brad Vickers. So where's he in relation to it? 5th place for number 11, Brad Vickers. 7 seconds down on Andy Farrell. That puts number 1, Stephen Proctor, down a place. He goes down to 6th, but he's only 3 seconds down on Brad Vickers. In 7th place, number 9, Francesco Coringa. He's 12.5 seconds down on Stephen Proctor. And then in 8th place now is number 8, Dave Butler, 10.5 seconds down on Francesco Coringa. And we go back, who are we looking for that would make a mess of that? It's Andrew Fisher. Andrew Fisher would be the one that would come through, because he was holding on to 6th position at Balaf Bridge, only 1 second down on Brad Vickers and only 2 seconds ahead of Stephen Proctor. So we'll have to wait for him to get to Ramsey Hairpin. I believe he has broken the beam down the road. Number 16, Andrew Fisher, and this is him here now in the brilliant sunshine, just glints off the fairing as he goes round the apex and accelerates away, and he holds on to 7th position. Andrew Fisher, number 16, he's a 0.3 of a second down on Stephen Proctor, but 12 seconds ahead of Francesco Coringa. So there's a battle going on over the mountain as well. Another machine comes into view, distinctive green fairing of number 15, Chris Cook. and he's here, and he's 10th place for Chris Cook, 12 seconds down, but the arrival of David McConaughey might change that. Number 17, expected to be the next machine into view, crouched over the tank as he comes out of Stella Maris, down through into bottom gear. 17, the number on the side, David McConaughey holding on to 10th place here at Ramsey Hairpin, 6.5 seconds down on Dave Butler, and that relegates number 15 Chris Cook into 11th place here at Ramsey, 5.5 seconds down on David McConaughey. We'll be switching over to the bungalow to see what the situation will be as they make the mountain climb, and I can tell you number 2 Stephen Parsons, and now number 3 Andy Farrell is up there, as is Stephen Parsons and is Stephen Proctor. Nathan Harrison has made it. It's 23 seconds over Andy Farrell, but we're looking for that number 7 Stephen Smith to light to come on to say that he's indicated through the bungalow. And what will be the difference? Has there been any further time pulled out on the mountain climb? Nathan Harrison flat behind the tank, I would think, on that mountain climb. It's up to 7 seconds. He's pulled 1.5 seconds out of him up onto the mountain climb. So it's now Nathan Harrison by 7.2 seconds in the bungalow from number 7 Stephen Smith, who in turn is 16 seconds ahead. So it's not a case of Smith backing it off, because he's pulled 3 seconds out on Andy Farrell in third, but Nathan Harrison must be the quickest to the bungalow. He's pulled 1 second out from Ramsey Hairpin here, now leads by 7.2 seconds at the bungalow. In third it's 3 Andy Farrell, 16 seconds down on Stephen Smith. In fourth position, number 2, Stephen Parsons, 0.3 of a second only down on Andy Farrell. And then in fifth place, number 1, Stephen Proctor, 10 seconds down on Stephen Parsons as they head for fuel. Or what are they going to do? Might be only just putting their foot down at the end of lap 2. Back to the grandstand.
Yeah, new man in third then at the bungalow is Andrew Farrell. He's just 0.3 ahead of Parsons. Parsons and Proctor have been swapping around nearly every sector. One of them's in front, then the other. Chris Boyd, it seems to be sort of holding them back on the times a little.
It is holding them back, yeah. It means that the gap to the front two is, growing, but Harrison and Smith are having an absolute ding-dong here. It's bungalow to bungalow. Stephen Smith is there in 18 minutes 39.8. Nathan Harrison 18 minutes 40.1. Just 0.3 of a second between them, both on 121.2 pace.
But they've got to scrub that pace off, haven't they?
Indeed.
Which will probably bring it below the 121.
You'd think so, but it just shows the pace this race is happening at.
Yeah, Brad Vickers still confirmed in 5th position at the bungalow, and we've still got to wait for Andrew Fisher to slot in. He should be in 7th, but we're going to have an absolute cavalry charge into pit lane here as Harrison is closing in on light now comes on for Parsons and Proctor simultaneously coming on, but who's in the lead this time? And Farrell now is there, and he's 2.7 now ahead of Stephen Parsons, so that gap is opening up. Farrell's had a good second half of this lap and got himself into the podium positions. Harrison leads though, light on for number 6 at Cronknamona for our race leader Nathan Harrison. We wait for the light to come on for Stephen Smith. It does now. Harrison's just eked a little bit more out. It's nearer to 8 seconds. 7.845 it is the margin between Harrison, our leader, and Smith, the Liverpudlian, in second. Farrell 17.5 seconds further back. Then it's 2.7 seconds back to Parsons, and it's 10.3 then to Proctor number 1. So Parsons only just ahead. Stand by your beds as they're coming into Gasoline Alley at the end of lap 2. 2 bikes into view, and we'll get the times up and we'll feed those down to Chris Kinley. Parsons 119.2. Same for Proctor. What's Harrison going to be? Harrison's just the 4th of these coming in. Farrell 119 as well. There's Harrison in. Harrison at 120.8. Chris Kinley.
Yeah, he did 120.56 on the first lap, so slowing down a little bit quick. 120.8 through Cronknamona to lead Nathan Harrison and over Stephen Smith with 7.845. Andy Farrell 17.5 back, but Stephen Parsons has dropped a little bit further back, but he's got a bit more time back at the grandstand. Smith's in. The gap coming in. That's going to be tight. Number 2 gets out just as number 7 comes in. So across the line, 7.869. 7.869. Nathan What have you done, Nathan Harrison? I think Nathan Harrison has completely and utterly blown his race.
Yeah, I can confirm that, Chris. I confirm it. He went at 64.1, a 30-second penalty for Nathan Harrison.
Absolutely destroyed his race. That has blown it wide open. So in the pits here at the moment, we have number 10 Stephen Smith at that 30 seconds on the pit stop and everything. Tim O'Hanlon's going to be working it out for us. That is an absolute disaster. The next rider we should possibly have in would be number 11 Brad Vickers and number 9 Francesco Coringa and number 8 Dave Butler. They're all safely through Cronknamona. Reiteration then as they came in for the pit stop. Nathan Harrison, number 6, led number 7 by 7.869 seconds, with Andy Farrell 17.927 back in 4th position. Stevie Proctor in and out. Francesco Coringa, the Italian rider, holding on to 8th through Cronknamona, 7th provisionally at the moment. And Brad Vickers is also in. Brad, number 11, good to see him back on form again. Did about 118 on the first lap. He's right at the top of the pit lane. You've got Robbie Sylvester and the team working hard on that machine. And then Brad Vickers in 5th, number 11, number 1 Stephen Proctor in 6th. We've got to keep an eye for number 16 Andrew Fisher though. He was only 1.228 back off Brad Vickers through Cronknamona as number 8 fires up. Davey Butler once again, known as Sideshow Bob. You'll see why if he takes his lid off while you're round. And number 9 is about to go too. And number 11 Brad Vickers out. Keep the speed down. Yeah, you hit the limiter. Just popping in there just to keep it under that 60 kilometres an hour. And it's number 16 Fisher. That should be the next klaxon that we hear. Will he slot in the 6th place? Remember, only 1.2 back off Brad Vickers. And Andy Fisher in for the pit stop. Across he goes. And Andrew Fisher does slot in to that 6th position. Hopefully he does, yeah. Andy Fisher is in 1.14 back off Brad Vickers. But it's all going to change at Glen Helen. Looking at the pit stop times, it was 44 seconds for number 7. Number 3 was 36. Number 2 was 40. Number 6 was 33. Number 11 was 40 seconds. And then number 1 was 43. But Tim O'Hanlon.
Yeah, Harrison was all but 10 seconds quicker than Steve Smith in the pits, but with this 30 seconds, that's going to give Smith a 20-second lead over Harrison. Farrell was 36.8, so he's gained 8 seconds as well, so it's going to be very tight for 2nd, 3rd and 4th.
All right, Tim, thanks very much for that. 15 just in. Chris Cook around about 12th place through Cronknamona, 10th at the moment over the line, and David McConaughey holding on to a top 10 place, number 17, Tim. He's in for his pit stop. Wow, it all changes here at the TT Grandstand as all the tear-offs get picked up from the middle of pit lane. Tim?
Yes, drama indeed. I can tell you, obviously got Jamie Coward helping down now. We've spotted Michael Dunlop helping out in the pits as well. Chris Boyd, that drops Harrison, we reckon, down to 4th place. And of course, he's only got 1 lap to try and get back rather than the 2 that you'd normally have.
Yeah, supposed to be a 4-lap late, was reduced to 3 because of the weather, and that means he's only got this 1 lap to try and get himself back on a podium at this Junior Manx Grand Prix.
Stephen Smith, though, on the Suzuki, absolutely flying and was toe-to-toe on that 2nd lap with Nathan Harrison as well, Chris Boyd. Toe-to-toe in times.
Absolutely. We've got to now see how this all shakes out. Stephen Smith will have, 17-plus second lead over Andrew Farrell based on the times in, with Stephen Parsons right behind him. Those two, of course, costing each other time on the road.
Yeah, they have been. They've been arguing all the way as bikes continue to stream in and out of pit lane as number 81, that's our the newcomer. Let's go down to Chris if we've time very quickly to see him through, because he's been impressive.
He certainly has, into 13th position across the line for the newcomer, doing a pretty good lap once again there, in for his pit stop. Only the 2nd time we've done that, and 116.24. He did just shy of 116 on his first lap. That's pretty good. Michael Rees, the Welshman, 114.03, and of course that lap by James Hind still at the top of the pile, 121.77. And just looking at Pierre, the guest on the chat show this morning, just gesticulating as the Frenchmen do to his team. Come on, boys, come on now. Just suspension a little bit, just winding one, just a quarter turn on one left fork leg, so that's a bit weird while he's only doing it on one side. All right, fair enough, he's away. Number 81, nice and steady. Yeah, here the rev limiter just kicking in as well. Number 26, hang on then, sounded like the clutch had gone there. 26 adjusted now. That's Gaz Evans. Where does Gaz slot into the leaderboard? He was in 16th place. Let's get to Glen Helen.
Yeah, just in time, Chris, just in time. The first four on the road are pretty much all running together, all safely through here. Nathan Harrison, Andrew Farrell, Stephen Parsons, Stephen Proctor. The adjusted time doesn't appear as yet to be showing a pit lane penalty for Nathan Harrison. We still have him as race leader here on the timing system, but with 30 seconds, that should put him down to 4th place. But we've not got that showing on our system, so we'll go with what we've got. Yeah, that's more like it, even as I speak. The board changes, and we have leading number 7, Stephen Smith, which is quite possible. Leads number 6, Nathan Harrison, by 5 seconds. With Andrew Farrell third, just a second down on Harrison. 4th place, number 2, Stephen Parsons, 9 seconds down on Farrell. And 5th place, number 1, Stephen Proctor at the moment. But that may change. We need Brad Vickers through here just yet. But Smith, Harrison, Farrell, Parsons and Proctor all through here. Harrison must have put in a pretty good sector if what we're finding that he's managed to recover some of that 30 seconds. But we'll keep an eye on that and see if anything changes. But at the moment, we have number 7, Stephen Smith, leading number 6, Nathan Harrison, by 5 seconds. Next man comes out of Glen Helen 2. Tips that into the left-hander. That's 9, Francesco Coringa, followed by 8 on the road, Dave Butler. Coringa ahead, of course, on corrected time. There's Brad Vickers now. He does take a top 5 place. Pushes Stephen Proctor down, so Vickers becomes 5th place. He is 9 seconds behind 4th place, number 2, Stephen Parsons. But it is Smith with the lead, we think, and he is 5 seconds ahead of Nathan Harrison. That's number 7, leads number 6. It's not much of a margin to defend on the lap, and of course Nathan Harrison will be on the charge to try and make amends for that error there in pit lane. But whether or not he can recover that 5 seconds in the rest of the lap, particularly as Chris Boyd said, they were going nip and tuck pretty much on sector times on the end of lap 2. It may suggest that Smith and Harrison are a pretty similar pace, and Nathan Harrison might just find it difficult to get that time back. 16 through now, Andrew Fisher, he takes 5th place, nudges Brad Vickers back out to 6th. So that's Andrew Fisher now takes 5th place. Number 16, Andrew Fisher, he is 6 seconds behind 4th place, Stephen Parsons, and in turn 3 seconds ahead of 6th place now, number 11, Brad Vickers. And that, of course, shuffles everybody down a little bit further. Proctor, Coringa and Butler also drop a few places each. Man, we were looking at lap 1, number 70, Alan Johnson. He started in 56th place, dropped a little bit of a few places towards the end of that second lap. And down, we last seen him at 29th place, but it's still a net gain of, 25 places, really. So still a good ride. Other riders performing well. Number 27, Ben Ray, started 36th. He was up to 15th at our last count. 17 comes in, David McConaughey. And Nathan Harrison, Stephen Parsons, Andrew Farrell and Stephen Proctor all now at Balaf Bridge. And we have still got no number 7, Stephen Smith yet, so he should be coming up there very, very shortly. And it looks to be pretty tight margin between him and Nathan Harrison. That was 15, Chris Cook coming through here at Glen Helen as I was speaking. He's successfully negotiated this long sweeping left-hander for his last lap of this 3-lap race. Next man in is 20, Arnie Shelton. Good solid performance from Arnie Shelton, and the gap hasn't changed. Stephen Smith now makes Balaf Bridge. It's number 7, Stephen Smith, leads number 6, Nathan Harrison. The gap was 4.7 seconds here, and at Balaf it's 4.7 seconds as well. They seem to be pulling a little bit away from 3rd place, Andrew Farrell. He was a second and a half down on Harrison here at Glen Helen. At Balaf Bridge, he's now nearly 3 seconds down on Harrison. So Harrison and Stephen Smith holding steady with each other, but just starting to pull away from the 3rd place man. 19 comes through, that's Mike Reese. Successfully makes his negotiation of these set of bends here at the end of the valley, which runs up here from Ballacrane. Next man in, 81, Pierre Bian. He had a big twitch here on the last lap. When Damien Horan's bike gave up on him, he must have dropped a little bit of fluid on the road. Pierre Bien was the man immediately following, and he had a big twitch from the back end as he tipped into the left-hander, but thankfully we're all good now. And the rest of the field start to stream through at Balaf now. Vickers is through, and Karinga's through, Butler's through. Is there any change in the order? There isn't so far. It is Smith leads Harrison, Farrell third, Parsons fourth. The next man here at Glen Helen is 33, Grant Gaskell. And he's closely followed on the road by 26, which is Gaz Evans. A couple of other guys we were watching who performed well. Louis O'Regan, number 45, had started 35th place. He was up inside the top 20, so he's gained 15 or 16 places. And also worth a shout, number 55, Lee Hembry, had started 42nd away and was up to 23rd, so almost gaining 20 places at a time, those guys who are having cracking little rides there. And at number 16, Andrew Fisher now makes it through Balaf, and that confirms our order at Balaf Bridge. Smith leads Harrison, Farrell third, Parsons fourth. Andrew Fisher now 5th place for number 16, 7 seconds down on 4th place Parsons, and in turn a second and a half clear of Brad Vickers. Brad Vickers has closed that gap into Andrew Fisher. It was 3.3 seconds here. It's only down to a second and a half now, so he's about halved the gap between Glen Helen and Balaf. Stephen Proctor still 7th, Karinga 8th, and Dave Butler 9th. And that's the order that they came through at the grandstand. But here at Glen Helen and at Balaf Bridge on the final lap, the race between Smith and Harrison. Number 7 leads number 6 with a gap of just 5 seconds. Back to you at the grandstand.
And another 30-second penalties being applied to our Greek friend Andreas Sigos. And we've also got confirmation that, there's so much quicker Nathan Harrison in the pits. He had a 7-second advantage, around 10 seconds quicker in the pits. So it's probably correct. Let's go to Ramsey.
We're just waiting now to see how this will resolve itself, and here he is. Nathan Harrison has made Ramsey hairpin. He's leading on the road from number 2 and number 1. That's Stephen Parsons and Andy Farrell, and that is Stephen Proctor, number 1, the last of those to go through. So leading on the road, he's got a clear run over the mountain, but will he be able to pull back 4.7 seconds on that run now from Ramsey hairpin to the finish? They were very much equal on the previous lap, but certainly over 3 laps, it's a dash for the cash, if you can call it now. I can tell you that Stephen Smith has broken the beam down the bottom of the road, and the difference is only 2.7 seconds. Nathan Harrison has pulled back 2 seconds on the run from Balaf Bridge here to Ramsey. He's leading on the road. Andy Farrell is in 3rd place, and he's 6 seconds down on Nathan Harrison. So 4 seconds has been taken back on the run from Balaf Bridge by that battle there for 2nd and 3rd. That proves that Nathan Harrison is on the case. Well, if he can get away with doing a speed limit 32nd and win this race, what a fantastic achievement that will be. Guy Martin and Ian Locker have been abused in the so to speak, in the getting sorted out and closer to the edge. We all remember how uptight Guy Martin was by being just a fraction over the regulation at 37, whatever it is down there. But the news from Ramsey is that number 7, Stephen Smith, still leads, but the difference is only 2.7 seconds from number 6, Nathan Harrison, who in turn is only 6 seconds ahead of, in 3rd place, Andy Farrell. 8.5 seconds covering the top 3 is number 11, Brad Vickers, goes through, and he is holding on to 5th place. He's 8 seconds down on Stephen Parsons, but he's got Stephen Proctor, number 1, only 2 seconds down on him. So the battle for the top 6 there between Brad Vickers and Stephen Proctor, 2.3 seconds the difference between them. Brad Vickers holding the advantage at the moment. The other 2 that you heard going through were number 8, Dave Butler, and number 9, Francesco Karinga. And certainly 20 seconds is the difference between number 9, Francesco Karinga, in 7th place, and Stephen Proctor. And there's a 12-second advantage, 12.5-second advantage, and that could be all changed with the arrival of Andrew Fisher. Where will he slot into it? Well, Brad Vickers, look out for Andrew Fisher, because he's only 0.3 of a second second down on you at Ramsey Hairpin. 6th place for number 16, Andrew Fisher, but only 0.3 of a second down on Brad Vickers, and there's only 2 seconds between number 16, Andy Fisher, and number 1, Stephen Proctor, as they make the mountain climb for the final time. But all eyes will be on the bungalow. Certainly that Jackson Honda will be given some right hand, I would think, going up. What an achievement it will be if he can do it, and certainly he's leading on the road, so he knows the road well, travelled it many, many times, certainly recovered from a horrific accident down at Derby, and we salute you, Nathan Harrison. It's like Dan Sale, it's like many others who come back, Ian Hutchinson, after terrific injuries and just want to race round here, but it's going to be a fantastic finish till the Macrease Motors Junior Manx Grand Prix, and we'll dial into that bungalow times as quickly as we possibly can. We'll be able to tell you that Nathan Harrison has made the mountain climb. Nathan Harrison is there, and Andy Farrell and Stephen Parsons and Stephen Proctor are there as well, but not as yet Stephen Smith, but he's not due, but he should be due any minute. That screen will flash up now with the indication of it. Certainly the time ticking by. Has there anything befallen Stephen Smith on the climb up the mountain? Certainly Nathan Harrison holds a 6-second advantage, 7-second advantage over Andy Farrell at the moment, but that screen is staying stationary at the bungalow. It clashes now. I can tell you Nathan Harrison leads at the bungalow by 0.3 of a second. 0.3. No, Nathan Harrison, number 6, leads Stephen Smith, number 7, by 0.3 of a second at the bungalow on the third and final lap of the Macrease Motors Junior Manx Grand Prix. They've got to make the climb up to the Brandywell, and it'll be all hell let loose on the run down then to the finish. A misgear, late braking, anything could change the advantage, but certainly Nathan Harrison pulled 2.7 seconds on the climb from Ramsey Hairpin to the bungalow. Andy Farrell holds on to that third place. He's 6 seconds down on Stephen Smith, but then only holds an 8-second advantage over in fourth place Stephen Parsons. Stephen Parsons in turn is 9 seconds down on in fifth place number 1 Stephen Proctor, as number 19 goes through Ramsey. Michael Reese, Chris Cook, Arnie Shelton, David McConaughey and David Butler all through back to the grandstand.
Yeah, a few more speeding tickets. Daniel Fernandez, 60 seconds, my word, 80.9, and Quinton Limousin 30 seconds. 60 you don't see too often here, but back to the head of the race, and what a race we have. Nathan Harrison, well, he's doing an Ian Locker and trying to win with a 30-second penalty as the last of the bikes go out of pit lane below us, which is, a few close calls. It's been pretty hectic down there. But Nathan Harrison is 0.3 in the lead at the bungalow, despite a 30-second penalty for speeding in after his pit stop. And he did just speed out a very, very quick splash and dash, but I think he forgot to put the limiter on. But he's at the Cronk Nimona. Number 6, Nathan Harrison. We're just going to have to wait a little while, though, after he crosses the line. He's leading on the road for number 7 to make it Stephen Smith, the man from Liverpool. But Nathan Harrison at Cronk Nimona is 8.3 ahead of Andrew Farrell. But we're waiting still for number 7 to come into view there, and the light to come on at Cronk Nimona for Stephen Smith. But 6, 3, 2 and 1 all at Cronk Nimona, as we will see them make their little journey down the short sector to the finish line here on Glen Crutchley Road. Is it going to be Harrison? Is it going to be Smith? It's 2.6 the advantage Harrison has at Cronk Nimona over Stephen Smith. And Harrison is on to Glen Crutchley Road. So what a performance. Let's give him a massive round of applause here, because he's had a 30-second penalty. The checkered flag waves, and he's likely to have got the victory. Huge applause indeed there for Harrison. 117.9 as Farrell crosses the line. Parsons and Proctor. Farrell currently showing in second place, but it's likely to be third place at Cronk Nimona. Farrell was 5.5 down on Smith. We've got to wait for number 7, Smith, to come into view. He's on to Glen Crutchley Road. It's got to get to 40, and we're on 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Harrison wins it. Here's Stephen Smith, crosses the line now, and the final margin 3.8. What a win for Nathan Harrison, Chris Kinley.
Absolutely fantastic. That young lad has been operation-wise fixed so many times over the past few years due to an incident that he had up there at Derby. Nathan Harrison wins by 3.886 from number 7, Stephen Smith, and Andy Farrell from the Skerries, number 3, 4.7 back in that third position for Andy Farrell. Oh, aye. Wow. Blasted by Stones, and Glenn Harrison straight in. And Father Dean is on the bike as well, and Alan Jackson and Andy Jackson both here as well. The Jackson boys, watch your back. Smithy gets a second place. He's happy about that. But we'll let Nathan go and see the family and friends first off. And we're going to hear the Manx national anthem up there on the podium. He gets in with his dad with a hug. This means a lot. They put a lot of effort and time into this, putting the heads together. The Jackson boys come on board with the CBR 600 at Derby. Had a little run out round there in it. You had good pace at the Northwest earlier on, the Northwest 200 this year. And you can hear the fans, somebody's bike's just boiling over a little bit there. I think it's Stevie Smith's, it is. He won't care. She's about to boil. They give a big hug, Stevie Smith straight in there to congratulate Nathan. And well, we'll let him just take a big glug of water, puts that in the front of the machine, taking the gloves off. There's no Quayside advert on today, but I'm sure there isn't. He's going to have I think his dad should give him a week off work, I think, to be honest with you, for winning this. Nathan Harrison, Junior Manx Grand Prix winner, after an absolute balls up in the pits.
I know. I got a board coming out of Balaf, and I seen in pit +5, and I thought I knew what I'd done because my dad told me in the pits what I'd done. But I like making things hard for myself in life, I think. But like you say, I've done it now, and I can't thank everybody enough. My mum, my dad, everybody here, Alan, Andy, Chris Preston, obviously, he's been a long-term sponsor for me. The boys down at Quayside, everybody has lifted on here, Reynolds and Turner, Toyo, everybody. I've missed somebody off here. CAF getting me back together, all my surgeons, it wouldn't be possible without them.
A lot of people don't know the history here, because a few years ago you were lying in a bit of a heap up at Derby, and basically you were walking around like, well, you couldn't walk around for ages. You've put so much effort into this, haven't you?
Yeah, non-stop. Pain, it still kills me now, to be honest with you, but I don't like telling people that because I just like getting on with life. But like you say, I can't thank everybody enough. To come back to this now, I can't thank everybody enough.
And 120.8 on the... Go on, Mum, come. It's all right, just get out of the way while the photographers jump in and get pictures. That's important, isn't it? 120.6 or 125 on... not 125, 120.5 on the first lap, 128 into the pit stop.
Yeah, I knew straight away. I'd come out of the pits and I whacked on the throttle because all the boys in front of me, and I knew I'd done it, and I seen the pit board and I was like, oh, what, I've made this hard for myself, but I just give it a good go on the last lap and made up.
Their pit stop got you back in it because you were 10 seconds quicker than anybody else. If your team wouldn't have done that, you would have been second to Stevie Smith.
I know, I can't thank them enough. My dad was worrying his heart out trying to do that because he knew I was going to be up there, but like you say, they've all done a fantastic job. My brother and everybody, I can't thank everybody enough.
And what about the rest? What's the future for you after this? You're now a Manx man winning at a Manx Grand Prix. That's a little bit special, isn't it?
Yeah. Probably go to, obviously, I want to do the TT in the Northwest and all that again. I want to keep trying to build. Every time I go out, I go faster. And that's what I like doing, just building up slowly and hopefully get places in the future.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Well, buddy, cheers, well done. Let's get round, well done. Stevie Smith, and she's a bit hot coming in.
Yeah, we've been struggling with that all week. And then coming into the pit, she started spitting water out, and I thought, that's it. And then I said to the scrutineer, can I go? Because I thought that was it. I thought race over. And they said yes. So I was like, right, let's go. So got my head down. Struggled to sort of get my head going again for the first lap after the pit stop. And I just said, calm down. Just focus on my lines, try and be smooth. That was it, just chipped away. I didn't have any idea where I was in the race.
Did you not? You were leading at one point because Nathan had a 30 seconds penalty in the pits because he oversped. right? And then when you come out of the pits in the Glen Helen, it was 4.7 seconds, and he was just catching you up. But their pit stop was so much quicker than everybody else. That's what got him, I think. I think he had about a 7-second into lead. You see, he didn't know where you were.
No idea, you know, no one had a pit board out for me or anything. And then it's just little things like you look at the spectators to see if they're waving at you or anything like that, and no one was waving at me. I thought, oh, here we go, you know, we've got on a long night, but literally no idea. I thought, well, that's why when we were coming in and the lad directed me in, I was like, really? Like me? And made up, like, you know, to be leading the race. Like I said, I made a couple little daft mistakes here and there, not trying to push, just lack of laps really. Like, I've only done one flying lap this year in practice. And sorry, am I shouting?
No, don't worry about it. It's loud enough.
Yeah, mate, just unbelievable. Literally just can't believe it.
This is the bit where you thank the people who've helped you.
Yeah, you know, just so many people. You know, obviously my dad, you know, he's always supporting the racing. Can't thank him enough. Do you know what I mean? I know this will mean a lot to him. All my sponsors. Blythe, you know, Stuart Blythe, he's flown over, he brings me dad over in the morning. Can't thank him enough. All the boys here, Motor Range, you know, they've helped me out this year a lot. There's just so many people, I just don't want to start naming them in case I forget any.
Anybody that's helped you.
Yeah. Everybody's helped me, you know, thank you very much. Just can't thank you enough.
Well done.
Thank you, cheers, Chris.
Steve, well done. Excellent stuff, and we'll get round the back and speak to young Andy Farrell if we can. Hopefully Andrew is here. He's not on the phone. He's always on the phone, isn't he? He's a social media god.
Let's record this because I didn't get last year's.
Go on in, we'll record this. Get ready to go with the video. All right, we'll do this. Okay, just hang on then. And in 3, 2, 1. So third place of the Junior Manx Grand Prix for Andy Farrell. How was that? Sorry, I went all TV on you there. Sorry about that. How was that, Andy?
Yeah, it was a good one, Chris. I didn't expect to be here. You know, it wasn't in the plans at all. I just wanted to go out and have a spin. I thought my man James Hind would go by me, I'd hold down to him, but he's on another planet, that lad.
121.77 new Junior Manx Grand Prix lap record he did from a standard start.
Yeah, he's something special, Chris. You're going to see him in the future, you know. I hope he gets good backing in the future. He deserves it.
I seen you and him having a little chat before you went out. Were you saying, look, if you catch me up, go on?
Yeah, I've been speaking to him all week, and I don't know, trying to give him some encouragement any help I can, you know. You know, he's a very calm lad. He's very, very patient, you know. I just told him, I said, as soon as you show me a wheel, I says, I won't even contend it. I said, let you go ahead, and I says, I'll try and get a toe off of you. You know, you're on fire, and I haven't really been up to spec this week at all, really. He went straight past me going into Kirkmichael. That was the last I seen of him. Just watched him. I was gauging, I was pulling the other two lads in. I could see them. Once I could see them, I thought, right, and there's not 10 seconds between us. I got good pit boards. But a big moment there, coming out of Glen Helen, going up towards Sarah's, I lost the front. Went on our side and just put my knee down, and somehow I caught the front again. Filled me jocks, to tell you this. You know, I stopped for a minute and thought there, and I says, you know, I'm only here for a spin. You're out there pushing around for podiums, and that really wasn't what I wanted to come here for. I wanted to come here and enjoy me with no pressure. I'm not saying I won't take the hood, of course I will. But as I said there, I have a beautiful fiancée that I want to marry and have kids with. And I came here 10 years ago, got in the podium for my first time, and I'm just going to call it a day now, you know what I mean? This is good enough for me. Finish off with another podium. I don't know what's that, 6, 7 podiums, is it?
7.
7 podiums. 7 podiums and 2 helicopter trips, and it was nearly another one, and I'm not putting that risk again. Now, I've come here to enjoy myself, Chris. I had a fantastic ride in the Superbike in the Classic TT. Got a silver lady. 11, delighted with that, and you know what I mean. I can't complain. That bike was flying. You know, I've done what I wanted to do. No more. I've other things in my life now that I need to do. You know, look after. Stop putting everybody under so much stress. So
come here and watch next year, eh? Come and help somebody. Share your experience with another up and coming young Southern Irishman, maybe.
I'm going to tell you, I beat his lovely this time.
I beat it. Well done, Andrew.
Thanks very much, Chris.
Well done, boys. Well done, team. Excellent stuff, and enjoy it. And that's the interview finished. Thank you. Yes, there you go. So that's the TV bit done, and that's a wrap. Over to you, Tim.
Well, a lovely interview it was with Andrew Farrell, and we thank him for the entertainment and to tip our hat off as well to him for the 7 times that he's been on the podium, and wish him all the luck in the world in his new life. Nathan Harrison, though, stealing all the headlines here with a 30-second penalty for being a naughty boy in pit lane. He just sped out of his pit stop. It was a splash and dash that they were going for as well, but there was a little bit too much dash as he got that 30-second penalty. But spirited ride by the Liverpool man Stephen Smith, but a sensational ride by Nathan Harrison, and he takes the win by 3.886 seconds. Last lap, 117.997 miles per hour, compared to number 7, Stephen Smith, who did 115.389. So clearly got the hurry up. Don't think he needed telling. Probably knew for himself that he was going to pick up a penalty. Stephen Smith then, he was 4.7 seconds ahead of number 3, Andrew Farrell. Wasn't that a lovely interview there? And it's all recorded. Watch it on Andrew Farrell television later on. Last lap of 116.697 for Farrell. He finished 12.4 seconds ahead of number 2, Stephen Parsons on a Kawasaki. 115.686 for Parsons. 7.8 seconds further back was number 16 in 5th place, Andrew Fisher on a Yamaha, 115.945 miles per hour on his last lap. 6th place, and my word, it was close, just 0.168 of a second back was number 1, Stephen Proctor on his Yamaha, 115.987 miles per hour for him. 7th was number 11, Brad Vickers, 2.4 seconds back, that's all on Proctor, and he was 20.2 seconds ahead of number 9, Francesco Coringa. 115.577 for Vickers on his last lap. Coringa, 114.903. Then 39 seconds back was number 17, David McConaughey in 9th, 112.956 on his final lap. 10th was number 20, Arnie Shelton, who was quickest in the early stages, certainly through the Sulby speed trap, obviously on a missile is Arnie. He finished 7.5 down on McConaughey and a last lap of 112.671. In 11th was number 15, that is Chris Cook. So good ride by Chris on the Kawasaki, 111.523. And 27.3 seconds further back was in 12th, number 81, the newcomer, Pierre-Yves Bihan, the winner from yesterday, 109.402 on the last lap. Remember, the last lap times are going to include the pit stop as well at the end of lap 2 in this 3-lapper. But a great ride and a great debut here at the Manx Grand Prix from our Frenchman, Pierre-Yves Bihan, a win in the Newcomers A. He was only just ahead, though, in 13th of number 27, Ben Ray. 0.754 of a second, that's all that separated them. Ray at 111.764 on his last lap. Then it was Michael Rees. He was 8 seconds down on Ray. He's in 14th position, number 19, Michael Rees, at 111.605 miles per hour on his last lap. 15th is number 26, that's Gaz Evans. Gaz Evans on the Honda, 111.037. He was 11 seconds down on Rees and just 2 seconds ahead. So some really tight racing all the way through the field. Just 2 seconds ahead of number 23, who was 16th, Adrian Hartog on a Kawasaki. And he was last lap, let's look at Hartog, 111.172 miles per hour. He was 5.3 seconds ahead of in 17th position, number 31, Chris Sabora on the Yamaha, 111.357 miles per hour for Chris. He was 1.3 seconds ahead of in 18th place, number 29, Stephen Horn on the Kawasaki, 110.806 miles per hour on the last lap. He, in turn, was just 2.9 seconds ahead of number 37, Radley Hughes in 19th, 109.979 miles per hour on his last lap. And he's just half a second ahead of 20th place, number 32, Teddy Brezon, at 110.905. So that's the top 20. And Chris Boyd, bring you in here, the margins all the way through that top 20. There were some great battles right the way down, never mind for the race win.
Absolutely thrilling stuff, absolutely. Never mind at the top where Nathan Harrison overturned a 30-second penalty to take the lead literally at the bungalow on the final lap after the final climb of the mountain. But as you say, right the way down, the scrap for 5th place with Andrew Fisher, Stephen Proctor and Brad Vickers. They were just dicing one another for tenths of a second after they'd gone through the pit stops. Absolutely fantastic stuff. It was Fisher that eventually took that 5th spot from Proctor by just 1/10 of a second, and then Brad Vickers a couple of seconds off that.
Yeah, but a 30-second penalty, and